Now, we will converge together, but we need some volunteers on the breakout room. Maybe we identify somebody from breakout room 1. If you can just come out and just summarize what you did and then try to share that with us, we really appreciate that. There's someone in breakout room 1. So good, we have Professor Moore here. Please,
yeah,
please over to your team. Thank you.
yeah. Okay, so can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, so breakout room 1, we spoke about what we are trying to develop. So we spoke about the need, what we are trying to develop us in the sense of building the tools that will enable us have or create this platform of early warning systems that we want to develop. So Professor Ma also spoke about using tools. There are already existing tools like the open development or using certain open frameworks. And then that in cases where we do not have enough data or we do not have enough information, we can use maybe possibility of agent-based simulations. Then this will help us to create the kind of data or the tools that we need to build this early warning system framework that we want to do. So this is largely the discussions that went on in our group.
Thank you so much. And we will be reaching out to your team. If you can document that and write your name on the file. Since this meeting is meant for us to come up with a white paper on towards early warning framework, we'll be reaching out to your team to add those components or the conversation that you have on that file and for more information. Thank you. We'll, for the sake of time, I'll just pass it to the floor here if someone has a question regarding the presentation from Team 1. All right, so we will move to the next one. I think everybody's rushing out of time since the next talk is about to start. We'll move to Team 2, and then gradually we'll look at the file and get back to you. If somebody from Team 2 can just, or Room 2 can just turn on the camera and summarize what they discussed, that would be great.
Yes, hi.
Hello, Benjamin. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. 5 on 5.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So we are room 2. So we discussed about like there is no existing early warning system in Africa. So because you can see some of the infection diseases like Ebola, malaria are leaving and returning anytime. So what our issue is about the data. So we said it will be better to develop a robust data collection mechanisms so that data will be available for researcher and they are going to develop some techniques. So our idea is to be able to detect those waves for given infectious diseases and try to facilitate people who are like public health concerns to be aware of the wave that are going to come. So the main issue will be the data, which is not available anytime in Africa, and the collection is not done accordingly. We are planning to create a way of collecting data, like electronic method. And for other details, we are going to put them or we are going to add them in the Google Doc with my group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. We will reach out to your group and you can keep your group going because this is an initial conversation. We're just starting. This is just a starter. Please document everything on what you just presented to us on existing ones, the novel ones and the way forward. If you can document that, we'll get back to you and this conversation will continue, organize many of such meetings. I'll turn to the floor if there's a question for Benjamin. Otherwise, we'll move to the next breakout room, room 3. If somebody from there can turn on the camera while the floor contemplates if there's a question that somebody has for Benjamin. Breakout room 3, please. All right, breakout room 4. As we move on, okay. And breakout room 5, please, if I skip you or I reach out and you were not ready, please do put everything on the file and we'll get back to you. Now, I will not turn to the room here just for us to hear from different teams as to what they have learned over the past 3 days, as to the existing early warning frameworks, the novel ones, and the way forward. So I will just pass the microphone to the first team to present what they have. And please, if you could add it to the Google Drive, we'll really appreciate it. Somebody from the team. Oh, awesome. Oh, no. Thank you, this one.
So we are talking. So we are talking about the marginal communities in this early warning system. So I think we discussed about how we can improve the early warning systems for the marginal communities. So the first thing, the community health centers can be can play a very important role in this. So the first, we need to organize like orientation programs so that we can discuss their problems in person and provide their solutions. And also we think that we need to provide a treatment to those individuals in the marginal communities, and this is a main factor. And we need to understand that we are if we want to collect data from these communities, we need to understand that that we are not harming them. We are like this is for the helpful for their health, and we need to advise, or means we need some experts or advisors so that they can contact them in personally. So this is the one way we can collect data from the marginal communities, but still this is a big challenge. But with the help of orientation or in-person meetings, we can improve the data sources from the marginal communities. So this one, and the second, I think Dave, you can extend how the social media article with the marginal communities.
We also had some ideas about how to try to build up standardized data sets for doing work on social media, just because we all have different case definitions for anything that we're looking at, and it'd be useful to be able to compare better our results with each other if we had more standardized data. And we also had some thoughts about how we might be able to record and model community-based information about stigmatized communities so that we can then compare data against a known baseline. So, you know, different parts of the world have different stigmas about different marginalized groups. It's hard to target outreach, and it's hard to be able to measure the effects of those outreach if we don't have a baseline truth about some common misconceptions and negative attitudes that need fixing around the world.
Were you able to put this in a file so that in the Google Drive so that we can take into account this? Okay, thank you so much. A volunteer? Aziz, my friend. Okay, good. Idris, my friend.
So we were talking about how, from what we've learned over the last couple of days, is that how governance is important, because research has a limitation of, you know, we can do so much, but if there is no support from the government or public health agencies, research is basically not translatable. But at the same time, we're talking about how to recognize how important it is that governments and research institutions see warning systems as a long time investment, not something that, you know, is probably going to give results within the next 6 months or so, but something that needs to be as a long-term policy that, although it may not be relevant for a couple of years, 5, 10 years, you know, eventually it's going to be relevant. But the infrastructure that would allow for a rapid response needs to be there, as well as the systems to be kept in place. So seeing this kind of things as a long-term investment rather than a quick, something that gives a quick turnaround, I think we believe is really, really important.
Were you able to put this in writing? Because we may reach out to you. Now, we have all listened to the various group. Is there any comment from any of us here about what each group has presented? Okay, good. We will be moving on to the next phase, but what I want to say before we move on, because today's our last day, is that all these ideas are going to be put together in a file as we move towards area awareness systems globally and shared with all of you. Once you provide your input continuously, then at some point we will push forward the conversation in the global community through a publication or just through presentation, but that will be published so that the conversation continue. We'll reach out for future meetings, so we'll continue this every year and bringing out experts that work in this area and people like you that have been thinking about this so that we build this together. What is the time now? What's the time now for the next talk? 11:30. So we're about to start, right? So let's get ready.